Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is going to be a monthly budget recap for September 2023. I haven't done one of these monthly budget recaps in a few months, so I'm really excited to dive into how September 2023 went for me. If you're interested in seeing that, please stick around. As I said in my introduction, this is a budget recap for September 2023. I thought we'd just quickly look at my monthly spread to show that every bill was paid as well as every savings challenge contributed to. This is my first monthly budget recap since June. I did not do July. I did not do August. Again, I feel like I've been going through a bit of a slump, like in terms of productivity and motivation. And so I'm actively trying to get back on track, and me doing this recap is part of that. So I do want to start out with talking about my debt payment plan. This is going to become even more important in the coming months as we start paying student loans again. As you can see at the top here, I have all of my debt listed. I have two sources of debt. Sikorsky is my car loan and Nelnet is my student loan. I am down to a little over $16,500 for my Sikorsky car loan, which honestly is really exciting for me. I purchased my vehicle in June 2022, and my vehicle cost about $40,000 when all was said and done. Now, I did have a down payment, and I pulled money out of my house savings at that time to put towards my down payment because my car was going to cost so much. I didn't want a super high monthly payment, knowing that I was going to eventually have a student loan payment. And so it was really important to me to get the cost of that car down as quickly as possible. So at that time, it was worth it to take cash out of my house savings account to put towards that. You know, I think about that now, I'm almost about $60,000 saved towards my house down payment. But if I hadn't pulled that cash out, I probably would have been closer to about $75,000. So part of that is, you know, kind of a bummer to realize. But what I will say is that in the end, I'm glad that a year and a few months after purchasing my car, I am almost at $15,000. So worth it in the end, even though it's kind of a bummer to think about. Nelnet, my student loan, I'm just over $40,000 for that. I'm not making any payments and haven't been making any payments towards that. But for the last year, my employer has. They've been paying $333.33 every month, which is what we see listed in the extra debt section here. I do want to include this in my monthly wrap-ups and everything, and so I've been counting this cash as income to then take it out as a payment. So total debt payments for the month were $790.18. Now, coming down to the bottom section here, this monthly debt progress, I couldn't really fill any of it out because I didn't figure out last month's total debt balance. But this month's total debt balance is $56,994.06. I did put in here the overall debt I started with. Now, this is not accurate to when I started paying off my student loans. This is accurate to June 2022 when I purchased my car. So what I did at that time is I put the total amount of my car loan plus what my student loans were at that time, and that's where I got this $70,910. So my monthly debt balance goes here, and then we can see my overall progress is $13,916.26, which is an overall debt progress percentage of almost 20%, which is really exciting. Now, going over to my net worth tracker, I do keep my assets private in terms of the breakdown of them, but I do have my total listed at the bottom. My total assets as of the last day of September were $270,851.75. And a big part of that is my retirement accounts through my employer. And then, as we saw on the last page, my total debt is listed here, or my liabilities. If we figure out my net worth for the month of September, it's $213,857.69. This section here I could not utilize because I didn't figure out my net worth last month. Now we're going to move forward to my favorite page in closing out my budget, which is the Where Did My Money Go worksheets and the monthly budget category breakdown specifically. I feel like I get the most out of this specific page. I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't fully fill it out this month. Again, I'm trying to get back into the flow and be productive, and I didn't want to overwhelm myself. And so the percentages here fell by the wayside. But let's start out with figuring out my inflow. Now, the Budget Mom started moving towards this whole monthly inflow, which is a culmination of earned income, other income, your starting balance, as well as savings used in order to get the most accurate indicator of what you had coming in throughout the month. I started the month with $1,047.60. That was in my checking account, in cash, in my variable expense checking account. And the reason that was so high is because I got paid right at the end of August. I did have earned income of $6,435.63. This was just from my full-time job. Now, I did pick up some shifts in the month of September at an urgent care through my employer. So that was extra cash that I got. So this is not my usual monthly income. This is a little bit higher because of that. Other income for the month of September was just that money that my employer put towards my student loan. And as you can see here, I had a ton of savings used in the month of September, and that is because I paid for the vacation that I'm going on in October. All of this added together does equal an inflow of $12,656.56. Now, if we come down to the budget categories, I have everything listed on the side here. My monthly budgets, generally what I do for that is I add up what I budget bi-weekly and put that in the monthly budget column. For monthly spent, we have a lot of green, which I'm really excited about because I didn't do a ton of spending in September, though I definitely did spending in September. First, we're going to start out with groceries. My monthly budget is $400. I spent $318.77. It's actually a little bit higher than usual, but I started having some really unfortunate GI issues in the second to last week of the month and found myself purchasing a lot more groceries in order to kind of figure out what my body was wanting to eat. And I do think I have better control over that now heading into October. And so I'm actually anticipating that what I spend on groceries every month is going to stay relatively high, closer to my monthly budget, potentially over, and that what's going to happen with my eating out is it's going to go way down. For the month of September, my budget was $200 for eating out. I spent $165, so under budget, but close to that budget. For gas, I spent half of my budget. I spent $75. My budget was $150. And then one area where I'm really excited is that my miscellaneous spending, which is my miscellaneous cash envelope only, has a budget of $350 for the month, and I only spent $140. That's an area where I've tended to go over in the past, so I was really excited to not go over this month. Miscellaneous bills, that's any other miscellaneous spending, any other spending that doesn't fall into a different budgeting column throughout the month. Generally stuff that I buy online that I pull out of my checking account, and I did do quite a bit of that, $739.83 worth in the month of September, but honestly, that is an improvement from some other months. So while I really do want to get that number down, I'm not unhappy with that. I'm especially not unhappy with that when I realized that my savings was over $3,000 for the month of September. I have this arbitrary budget of $3,000 towards savings, about half of my income. So it was really exciting to see that I pushed over that. And a little bit of that was those extra shifts that I picked up at urgent care, because I really did try to put that money directly into my savings account, my house savings account. Utilities, which is really just my cell phone bill and my house phone internet cable, $345, and I was just about $341 for that. Personal, I had at $105, I spent $91.96. Housing, which is my rent, was right at $600. Giving was at $20. That's my church contribution specifically. Debt, I have $460 because that's my car payment. For the month of October, you're going to see that budgeted amount go up because I'm going to start paying on my student loan. So I know what I have to budget is higher, but it was over budget because of that $333 from my employer. Now, I did spend from several of my sinking funds in the month of September. Subscriptions, $139, that was from my Amazon Prime membership, which I pay annually. The largest amount was from my travel sinking fund, $45.88.50, which was paying for that vacation. I pulled out of my birthday sinking fund for almost $85 and medical, $25. Now, if I add all of this up, it is not going to equal my monthly inflow because I know that on the last day of September, I have money I'm rolling over into October. If I don't put that money in here, it's going to make everything off. It's not going to balance out to zero because the Budget Mom has a zero-based budgeting method. So I do have to include my October starting balance. I am rolling over $1,080.21 from September into October. And then if I add everything up, we got really lucky. It made me really excited that I completely balanced out to zero for the month of September. Now, if we flip the page over, we have our monthly debt and savings breakdown. I'm going to zoom on in just a little bit here. And I want to start off with the debt side first. So the debt side is based off of your inflow, which is listed right at the top here. My monthly debt payoff was $790.18. That means I put 6.2% of my inflow towards my debt for the month of September. And as you can see, that broke down to my car payment and the student loan payment that my employer made towards my student loans. For savings, it's based off income. The reason being, you don't want to base how much you saved in that month off of a total that includes savings you used. And this month especially, I used a lot of savings. So in taking that savings used out of the equation, my income was $7,816.56. And that means with my total that I saved being over $3,000, I saved 44.2% of my income in the month of September, which I'm really, really happy about. Sinking funds was definitely the majority of that. I saved $2,000, almost 60% of what I saved towards sinking funds. The next was house savings that only got just a little bit over $1,000. I wanted it to be more, but I'm not upset about it, given how much I put towards my sinking funds. And again, that's because a lot of it was going towards my travel envelope, which I then ended up using. My 2023 challenges that I did, I saved $86 towards. 52-week challenge was $58. My $5 challenge got $30, and I'm actually really, really happy. I was able to put $265 towards my emergency fund. Now, for those of you who may not watch my cash envelope stuffings, my emergency fund gets any unused cash from my variable expense cash envelopes at the end of every pay period. So the fact that I had $265 in unused cash from my envelopes in the month of September is super exciting. I was actively trying to not spend a ton from my envelopes in the month of September, mostly because I was close to getting $1,000 in my emergency fund envelope, and every time I hit $1,000, I get to deposit that in my emergency fund checking account at my credit union. So that did happen in the month of September. I didn't share that with you guys in the moment because that was when I was doing it in my productivity slump, but really excited that took place. Now, the last page in the Where Did My Money Go worksheets is one that I actually did not do for the month of September, and that's because it's my monthly spending comparison, and I did not close out my budget for August, and I did not want to go back and figure out all of these categoried amounts for August to then do this comparison. So come October, when I close my budget, I will be able to utilize this sheet again because I did close out my budget for September, but that's the reason why I don't have that sheet filled out. And that's it for my September 2023 monthly budget recap. Again, overall, very happy with the way that my budget ended up turning out for the month of September. Again, having not closed out my budget for the last couple of months, I was a bit nervous it was going to be a train wreck. But overall, I think I saved really well. I was able to be under budget for a couple of different budgeting categories. That was really exciting. I definitely have to get those miscellaneous bills category under control a little bit more, but overall happy with the way September went and really looking forward to October. If you all have any questions about the way that I budget, how I use the Budget by Paycheck workbook from the Budget Mom, how I use the printable version of the workbook, please do not hesitate to put those questions down below. And as always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.